Have you ever noticed how two people can go through the exact same situation, yet one feels grateful and peaceful while the other feels stressed and miserable? The difference is not luck. It's not money. And it's not even intelligence. According to the book The Happiness Hypothesis, the real difference lies inside the mind. The way we think, react, and interpret life shapes our happiness more than the events themselves. Imagine waking up every day feeling lighter, calmer, and more in control of your emotions. Imagine understanding why your mind creates fear, anxiety, overthinking, and sadness, and learning how to retrain it. That's exactly what this book teaches. It combines ancient wisdom from philosophers and spiritual traditions with modern psychology and science to explain one powerful truth: happiness is not something you chase outside yourself. It's something you build from within. So if you've ever felt stuck in negative thoughts, emotionally exhausted, or constantly searching for happiness in success, relationships, or validation, stay with me till the end of this summary. Because the ideas in this book can completely change the way you see your life. The book begins with a simple but powerful idea. Inside every human being, there are two parts of the mind. Jonathan Haidt compares them to an elephant and a rider. The rider represents your logical thinking mind. The elephant represents your emotions, instincts, habits, and subconscious feelings. Most people believe the rider is in control, but in reality, the elephant is much stronger. Your emotions often decide your actions before logic even gets involved. That explains why you know what's right but still struggle to do it. You know you should sleep early, but you scroll on your phone for hours. You know anger damages relationships, but you still lose your temper. Your rider understands, but your elephant controls behavior. The secret to happiness is not forcing the elephant with willpower. It's training the elephant gently. Habits, environment, repetition, meditation, gratitude, and positive experiences slowly reshape the emotional mind. The author explains that many people spend their lives fighting themselves. One part wants discipline while another wants comfort. One part wants peace while another keeps replaying painful memories. Happiness comes when these inner parts begin working together instead of against each other. The book then explores one of the biggest misconceptions about happiness. Most people think happiness comes after achievement. They say, "I'll be happy when I become rich, when I get married, when I buy a house, when people respect me." But every time they achieve one goal, the happiness fades and another desire appears. Psychologists call this the hedonic treadmill. Humans quickly adapt to success, comfort, and pleasure. What once felt exciting becomes normal. That's why chasing external rewards alone never creates lasting happiness. The author explains that our brains evolved for survival, not permanent happiness. Thousands of years ago, humans needed fear, desire, and anxiety to stay alive. The mind constantly searches for problems because that helped our ancestors survive danger. But in modern life, this creates stress and dissatisfaction even when life is relatively safe. That means you cannot wait for life to become perfect before feeling peaceful. Happiness is not the absence of problems. It's the ability to respond wisely to them. One of the most beautiful lessons in the book is the idea of changing your perspective. Two people can experience the same event but interpret it differently. One sees failure as proof they are worthless. Another sees it as a lesson for growth. The event is the same, but the meaning changes everything. Your thoughts create emotional reality. This is why negative thinking becomes dangerous. When people constantly repeat thoughts like, "I'm not good enough, nothing ever works," or "My life is terrible," the elephant begins believing those stories. Eventually, those thoughts become emotional habits. The author explains that cognitive therapy works because it teaches people to challenge distorted thinking. Instead of automatically believing every negative thought, you learn to question it. Is this thought actually true? Is there another interpretation? Am I exaggerating the problem? This simple habit can dramatically reduce anxiety and depression because thoughts influence emotions more than most people realize. Another major lesson in the book is about relationships. Humans are deeply social creatures. Happiness grows through connection. People often believe independence means needing nobody, but research shows strong relationships are one of the biggest predictors of long-term happiness. Money matters only up to a certain point. After basic needs are met, emotional connection matters more. The author explains that love is not just a feeling. Love is built through trust, kindness, shared experiences, and emotional support. Small daily actions matter more than dramatic gestures. Listening carefully, showing appreciation, being patient during conflict, and making people feel understood creates stronger bonds. One powerful concept in the book is reciprocity. The way you treat others often shapes how. This explains why some wealthy celebrities still feel empty while ordinary people with purpose feel fulfilled. A meaningful life usually involves contributing to something bigger than yourself. The book also explores the role of adversity. Most people hate pain and difficulty, but challenges often become the source of growth. Struggle builds strength, resilience, wisdom, and gratitude. Think about the hardest moments of your life. At the time, they may have felt unbearable. But many struggles later become turning points that shape character and maturity. The author explains that humans are surprisingly resilient. Even after painful experiences, most people eventually recover emotionally. The mind adapts. Healing happens gradually. That doesn't mean pain is easy. It means suffering does not have to define your future forever. One of the most practical lessons in the book involves gratitude. The brain naturally focuses on what's missing instead of what's already good. Gratitude interrupts this pattern. When you regularly notice blessings, relationships, opportunities, health, or simple moments of peace, your emotional state changes. Research shows grateful people tend to feel happier, calmer, and less depressed because gratitude trains the brain to notice positives instead of only threats and problems. The author also talks about meditation and mindfulness. Most people spend their lives trapped in constant mental noise, thinking about the past, worrying about the future, comparing themselves to others, and replaying regrets. Meditation helps quiet the mind. Even a few minutes of mindfulness each day can reduce stress, improve emotional control, and create inner peace. Mindfulness teaches you to observe thoughts without becoming controlled by them. Instead of instantly reacting with anger, fear, or sadness, you create space between the thought and the response. That space changes everything. The book then explores work and achievement. People often assume happiness means avoiding effort, but humans actually need challenge and engagement. Psychologist Mihai Csikszentmihalyi called this state flow. Flow happens when you become deeply absorbed in meaningful activity. Time disappears. You feel focused, energized, and alive. This can happen while writing, creating, learning, teaching, building, playing sports, or solving problems. Real happiness is not endless relaxation. It's meaningful engagement. The author also explains why comparison destroys peace. In today's world, people constantly compare their lives to others on social media. Someone always seems richer, more successful, more attractive, or happier. But comparison creates endless dissatisfaction because there will always be someone ahead of you. Instead of comparing yourself to others, compare yourself to who you were yesterday. Growth matters more than competition. Another powerful lesson is that happiness requires balance. Too much selfishness creates emptiness. Too much self-sacrifice creates exhaustion. Too much pleasure creates addiction. Too much control creates anxiety. Wisdom lies in balance. Ancient philosophies from Buddhism, Stoicism, and other traditions repeatedly teach moderation because extremes usually create suffering. The book also discusses morality and human nature. Humans are capable of kindness, compassion, and cooperation, but also selfishness and cruelty. Which side grows stronger depends on habits, environment, and conscious choices. Every small action shapes character. If you repeatedly practice honesty, gratitude, patience, and discipline, those traits become stronger over time. If you repeatedly feed anger, envy, laziness, or negativity, those patterns strengthen too. You become what you repeatedly do. Toward the end of the book, Jonathan Haidt explains that happiness is like tuning an instrument. Your mind, relationships, body, work, and values must work together in harmony. If one area is ignored completely, life feels. So the next time your mind tells you happiness is somewhere far away, remember this book's message. The peace you are searching for may not come from changing everything around you. It may come from changing the way you understand yourself. Because when the rider and the elephant begin moving in the same direction, life becomes lighter. Your mind becomes calmer. Your relationships become stronger. And happiness stops feeling like a temporary emotion and starts becoming a way of living. If you enjoyed this summary, remember that knowledge only changes life when applied consistently. Choose even one lesson from this book today. Practice gratitude. Observe your thoughts. Spend more time with people you love. Stop comparing yourself to others. Focus on meaning instead of temporary pleasure. Small changes repeated daily can completely transform your emotional life over time. And if this summary helped you see happiness differently, share it with someone who may need it too. Because sometimes a single idea can change the direction of a person's entire life. 10 Learning Objectives. 1. Understand the difference between the logical mind and emotional mind. 2. Learn why external success alone cannot create lasting happiness. 3. Recognize how thoughts influence emotions and behavior. 4. Practice challenging negative thinking patterns. 5. Understand the importance of meaningful relationships. 6. Learn why gratitude improves emotional well-being. 7. Discover how mindfulness reduces stress and overthinking. 8. Understand the role of purpose and meaning in happiness. 9. Learn why comparison destroys inner peace. 10. Realize that happiness is built through daily habits and perspectives.